words and wise words on This Morning. Welcome to the weekend, everyone. I'm Dana Jacobson, along with Michelle Miller and Jeff Glor. We do have a bit of sad news this morning as we wake up to the news of Congressman John Lewis's passing.
Simply a legend in the battle for equality, and while it hurts the heart of anyone who cares about equality, Michelle, we know you've met him many times.
Indeed, I have, and each time was memorable. You always felt like you were in the presence of greatness, kind strength mixed with, oh, that air of humility, all his own. And of course, we begin with that news that came overnight. Congressman John Lewis of Georgia, one of the leading figures of the 1960s civil rights era, has died. He was 80 years old. Lewis was a protege of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Together, they challenged the segregated South. Lewis continued to fight for civil rights throughout his career. And last December, he revealed he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer and said he had never faced a battle like it. Lewis told CBS This Morning last month he believed his health was improving. Ed O'Keefe shows how Lewis was at the heart of Black America's struggle for equality for more than 6 decades.
We still have work to do.
Congressman John Lewis was the youngest leader of the civil rights movement and its enduring storyteller. He helped organize the March on Washington in August 1963, and his death means there is no longer anyone alive who spoke that day.
We do not want our freedom gradually, but we want to be free now.
2 years later, Lewis led a march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama.
We're marching today from Selma to Montgomery. We are marching to our state capital to dramatize to our nation and to the world our determination to win first-class citizenship.
That ended abruptly at the bottom of the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
You ought to move off of the street immediately.
This is an unlawful assembly. You ought to disperse.
A day seared in the memories of most Americans as Bloody Sunday.
I was the first person to be hit, and I still have the scar on my forehead. And I was knocked down. My legs just went out from under me. I thought I was going to down this bridge.
As a college student, Lewis led sit-ins that helped desegregate Nashville lunch counters. He became a freedom rider, risking his life to force desegregation. He was there when Lyndon Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act. He was beaten, spit at, and over the course of his life, arrested more than 45 times, all for what he called good trouble.
I met Rosa Parks in 1957 when I was 17. 1958, I met Dr. King. And these two individuals inspired me to get in trouble. And I've been getting in good trouble, necessary trouble ever since.
Elected to Congress from an Atlanta district in 1986, he was a liberal Democrat who pushed for civil rights, gay rights, and boycotted 2 Republican presidential inaugurations.
I would ask that all of my colleagues join me on the floor.
Days after a mass shooting in 2016, Lewis led an unprecedented sit-in on the floor of the House, trying and failing to secure votes for gun control legislation. Throughout his life, he remained a living reminder of the legacy of the civil rights movement.
When people tell me nothing has changed, I just feel like saying, come and walk in my shoes. I will show you. I would take you to those places.
On Capitol Hill, Lewis was one of the few lawmakers left, universally admired on both sides of the aisle. In part, for simple moments like this one. Last year, at the height of the impeachment fight, Lewis participated in a bipartisan tribute to retiring Georgia Senator Johnny Isakson, a Republican. Lewis ended his remarks with something rarely seen in Washington anymore. He crossed the House floor for a handshake and a hug between a Democrat and a Republican.
Thank you.
In June, Lewis visited Black Lives Matter Plaza in Washington. The civil rights icon stood on the spot of the new mural and said that it sends a mighty powerful and strong message to the rest of the world. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, Washington.